So hello and welcome to the Irish Independence League of Ireland preview show, joined today by Aidan Fitzmaurice. Look ahead to 5 big games this Friday night and of course the last round of games before the international break comes into view. Aidan, just looking at the fixtures, I know you were at Dalymount last Monday night. That was a big last minute win for Shamrock Rovers at Dalymount. Of course, the last men's derby between the sides before the ground gets redeveloped. That was a really sweet moment for Shamrock Rovers, but they host Pats this Friday and the big derby the weekend. But you kind of feel that the commentary afterwards and in the last few days, it was the sign of champions. They didn't particularly play well, but they got to the 3 points. Did it feel like a bit of a turning point in this title race? Because Bohs did have the opportunity, if they won, to go joint top.
I think that was the turning point in the season for Shamrock Rovers and in the title race overall, because if Shamrock Rovers had lost that, they were 1-0 down. If they'd lost that, it'd be 3 in a row. They're not used to losing 3 in a row. They did lose 3 in a row at the end of last season, but the league already won. It didn't really matter. They were just turning up for fixtures. The results didn't matter. But if they had lost 3 in a row, I think they're going to have questions. The whole international backdrop, losing Pico Lopez, the fact that on Monday that Rovers released Adam Brennan and Bohs didn't release Dawson Devoy. If Bohs had won and Devoy had scored the winning goal, that opens up questions for Rovers as a club in terms of the judgment. And then going into Derby against St. Pat's, you would have felt that they're there to be got at. I thought, particularly in the first half against Bohs, I thought Rovers looked quite sluggish. I thought they looked slow. I didn't really agree with Stephen Bradley's assessment of the game that they were very good across. I thought Rovers were magnificent in the second half. But it's that market champions, that's how they do it. And that's that know-how and the lack of panic and the ability to turn things around. So if they'd lost, I think we would have had a more open title race. I think now they'll go on. I think they'll beat St. Pat's on Friday. You look at where they're getting goals from. Enda Stevens, his first goal ever in the league. Who'd have thought? Who's going to score a goal for Shamrock Rovers? Yeah. And it's the point to keep making about Shamrock Rovers is it's the two elements are the know-how, the nous, the ability to get that win, to go away to Bohs, your biggest rivals, a huge home crowd, 1-0 down, to turn that around and win 2-1. And also the bench. To me, the key player in the night was Dylan Watts. I know a lot of focus on McGovern and Lee Stevens for the finishes. They were brilliant headers. Anybody trained a schoolboy team, show those clips to those, how they got to the headers. A real striker's finish from McGovern. And then that's how, we've seen Shane Duffy, how many players have done that, defenders going up to get on a header. But Dylan Watts was immense when he came on. I thought Diallo was running the show in for the first, certainly the first half, maybe the first hour, but Dylan Watts just came into the game, and that delivery from Dylan Watts for the winning goal so when the season is points are tallied up at the end, okay, Shamrock Rovers, they'll have clean sheets from McGinty, they'll have goals from McGovern or Aaron Green or Burke or Ajim Vuna, but that moment, those two players, Dylan Watts' delivery and Enda Stevens' finish, I think that could be a key moment in the race.
Stevens' header in the last minute there, absolutely unbelievable finish. Obviously former Ireland international at the end of his Ireland career now, but someone hoping to be at the beginning is Adam Brennan. Big week for him in his first Ireland senior camp. Ed McGinty too, linking up with the squad after the Dalymount game. We'll have to wait and see if he comes into contention this Friday against Pats. And Pats have kind of goalkeeper issues is the wrong word, because you love to see players like this get a chance at their World Cup squad. Joey Anang named in the Ghana provisional squad at the moment. I think that has to be cut down to 26, and he obviously should make the cut, having been in the last couple of camps as well. But St. Pat's coming into this 1 win and 5. They had a pretty good start to the season, were scoring goals for fun, but just a little bit of a rut now, and they'll be hoping to get back on track with Intala. But Shamrock Rovers, the form they're in, the confidence they have, it's a tough test.
Yeah, particularly with Rodgers coming in. Look, Rodgers is if McGinty isn't available, Alex Noonan comes in, the 17-year-old. Stephen Bradley spoke about it. He joked the other day, given they put in Pazunu at 16, that Noonan is old in the goalkeeper terms. So Shamrock Rovers at 17. You have Danny Rodgers to come in. He's experienced. He's been in the Irish squad before. He's been around the league in England and Scotland. So I don't think there's any real worry there. It's more the other end, it's more, finishing chances, very reliant on Edmondson, Max Mata being in and out. I haven't really seen him. I know he had injuries coming in, but I thought Max Mata would have had a really strong run of games, of starts at the stage. He's been in and out. Palmer, of course, has been in and out as well, had that injury. I think St. Pat's really want to get to the break. Not an advantage not being in Europe, but there will be a bit of a reset. They will restart the season, of course, with Anang as well. He'll still be in, they know that as well. They'll restart the season in mid-June with Rodgers in place for Anang. So, Rodgers played in the Leicester Senior Cup in midweek just to get him some game time. But yeah, for St. Pat's, I think you look at Shamrock Rovers, what they will take from what they were up against away to Bohs, missing Adam Brennan, 1-0 down. not playing particularly well in the first half to take that win, that momentum, to me, takes Shamrock Rovers in, and I think it's a chance for them to close off the first half of the season with another derby win.
Joey Nang hoping to make the cut for the final World Cup squad, and of course Pico Lopez joined up with the Cape Verde squad earlier this week too, so there might be a couple of League of Ireland fans with Ghana and Cape Verde jerseys over the next couple of weeks now. But Aidan, moving on to Dundalk against Derry this Friday night. Now, I saw Dundalk last Friday, very, very good in the first half, dropped their levels, lost Horgan to a shoulder injury. We'll have to wait and see what the crack is there, what the prognosis is. He did look in pain coming off, so that'd be a big loss for them. But Derry, I suppose, when we look at the table, they are in 6th, but they are also only 3 points off 9th. And when we've been saying the last few weeks, when you hear the noises coming out of the club in pre-season, title challengers, really want to push Shamrock Rovers really, really hard. To be at just over the halfway point now, 6th in the table, closer to the bottom half than the top, obviously. It just feels like if they have another draw, or even a defeat, or even a draw at Oriel Park, that the pressure will come up to new levels for Tiernan Lynch.
I think every week is a referendum on Tiernan Lynch for Derry City fans, and I'm always conscious when you talk about managers being under pressure, you're talking about people who, it's their livelihoods. If Tiernan Lynch loses his job, he's a provider for his family. I'm always conscious of that. There's a human element, but football also is a results business, and I think the Derry fans have given up. They were booed off in the Monday night game. The approach has been very strange the last 2 games. Derry played without a striker. They have Josh Thomas. James Clark, signed from Bohemians, is not really an out-and-out striker, but they have Josh Thomas, who look good any time I've seen him. They have Depot, who scored a wonder goal against Shells earlier in the season, who's a real presence. But they've started the last 2 games without them, with a false 9. Derry fans expect their team to play with a bit of a swagger. They certainly expect... some clubs are like that, expect to play with a certain way. You win or lose, but you play with a certain way. You don't start at home to a mid-table team without a striker, and I just think I think it has turned on Tiernan Lynch, and I think unfortunately for him, if Derry don't win, certainly if they lose, I think there is a chance now for that gap where if the board do decide to make a change, they have that time then over the mid-season break to get somebody else in to see where they go. You look at the job that Rory Higgins has done at Coleraine since he left, they will look around for options. So I'm not putting Tiernan Lynch in the managerial graveyard just yet, but they need to win, because if this is a third, and particularly at home as well, they've had a couple of games now, they've won one more game to come in Celtic Park before they go back to the Brandywell. I think they'll be delighted to get out of Celtic Park. The pitch isn't great, the atmosphere was very poor on Monday. It didn't feel like a home game. Your home game should be a fortress, should be raucous. It looked, the bits I saw on TV on Monday night against Shells was just very, very, it was a poor pitch, a poor performance, poor atmosphere. It's tough times for Derry. I
know you're up there against Shamrock Rovers, the opening game at Celtic Park, and you look at that point, huge win to kind of kickstart their season.
And a great atmosphere at that.
Yeah, and a great atmosphere, and the pre-match stuff, the fan zone, like hearing all of what you said on the night. I know we spoke afterwards. It was such a memorable occasion for the club, and from that point, with those 3 points, you were hoping they'd kick on there, and to be a few weeks later, and now the feeling is that they can't wait to get out of Celtic Park. The atmosphere, I know if you flicked on the LOI TV highlights last Monday night, that scoreless draw against Shells, I think the third highlight was like near the end of the game. There seemed to be absolutely nothing happening in terms of goal-mouth action.
But even the mood, again, James McLean, who's very outspoken, is entitled to use social media as anybody else. He had a pop back of a fan, a post the other week. I don't like seeing that stuff, that your focus should be on your job, and a player trading blows with the fan on social media, to me, isn't a positive sign of where the club's focus is. They just seem to be at war with each other, that the fan base clearly are not happy with the setup that they have, with the players they have. The players they have, they've had horrific injuries. Brian Maher, probably the best keeper in the league, they've lost him. Liam Boyce has missed he's missed all season. Dummigan has only come back in. Mickey Duffy missed a huge chunk of the season. So I do give Derry allowances for the injuries they've had. But then you can't really match that then with leaving Josh Thomas and Depot on the bench from the start in 2 home games. That doesn't make any sense.
Aidan, just looking at Dundalk coming into this in 4th, been one of the stories of the season so far. Been really, really impressive. Nice blend of youth and experience, and only 2 weeks ago they beat Shamrock Rovers at home, so they'll fancy their chances in this one with Derry no wins in 6 and so low on confidence. Just looking at 2 other games, Shelburne against Galway and Sligo Rovers against Bohemians. I suppose for the 2 Dublin clubs that come into this, Shells finally breaking that home hoodoo last week. It's back-to-back home games. They'll be hoping for 2 wins in a row against Galway here now, and Sligo Rovers against Bows. Bows were on a good run, I think 3 wins in a row until that defeat on Monday night. But Sligo Rovers full of confidence after beating Shamrock Rovers last week as well, or the week before as well. So I suppose for a lot of these teams coming into the international break, you just want to enter it on a high and kind of take stock then over the break.
Yes, and Bo's way to Sligo, you just don't know what to expect from Sligo. I mean, to be beaten 4-1 at home by Galway and then to go to Tallaght and win. Now, they did win there last year. That was one of the defeats for Shamrock Rovers I mentioned, but it's inconsequential from Shamrock Rovers' point of view. The league was won, so Sligo have the potential to win there, but how they set up, how they regrouped, came from a goal down, I thought. So you just don't know. And John Russell speaking afterwards, he said he just can't figure it out how, so poor at home to Galway and then so strong away to the league leaders and champions. And I think the squad has come a little bit to the fore. If you look at how Carl McHugh come off the bench, I like seeing that. When the player who turned it for me was really Ryan O'Kane. I thought when he came on, he was magnificent in that away to Shamrock Rovers. He's been missing a lot for the last 2 months. McHugh maybe can come in now. So Sligo probably need, squad might need a little bit of work during the break, but certainly Sligo, having won in Tallaght, they'll feel they can take Bows. I think they'll need a clinical. I saw Bows should have been 3-0 up at home to Shamrock Rovers. How they came out, how they lost that game will really, it'll be an issue for for Alan Reynolds and Stephen O'Donnell and the staff this week to see how that happened. They have attacking options. Both team changes a little bit too often for me. Harry Vaughan could be in and he's out. Parsons is in and out. Myers is in and out. There doesn't seem to be a lot of consistency with team selection. I know Bows fans who travel, they play this thing called Rennie Bingo when they're in the car on the way to games and try and pick the team. They never get it right because they just can't predict what team Alan Reynolds is going to pick. I think Bows have the attacking options to go to Sligo and win. It's just whether they can put them away. If they play with the lack of clinical edge as they had against Rovers, Dale Rooney scores his goal at 1-0, Bows go 2-0 up, Shamrock Rovers aren't coming back. They can't afford to be that wasteful again. Shelbourne, I think just the relief of getting that home win, I think it annoyed Shelbourne fans more than annoyed Joey O'Brien and the staff and players. They just wanted to get that over the line. Last minute against a struggling team, it doesn't matter. They got the home win. Talca Park has had a bit of another lick of paint or a bit of a spruce up in the last couple of weeks. It's looking more like a stadium, particularly the new stand as it's called, even though it's 25 years old. Just that relief. I think it's more to end that talk about the home form. Shelbourne's away form is really good. A draw on Derry isn't the worst result in the world, but turn that home form around. If Shelbourne can do that, they'll be back knocking on top 4 again. And
from a Shelbourne point of view, the good thing is the bodies come back now. Meepo has been on the bench the last week or two. Milan and Beng, Oran Cases sounds like he's not too far away. Paddy Barrett obviously coming back in as well. So the squad is there, and it was just all about getting over the line, getting that first home win, and that was a massive moment from the last week. They'll be hoping to kick on now. Obviously coming into that off the back of the scoreless draw against Derry, but probably going up there, not the worst point in the world to take back to Dublin with them from Shell's point of view.
No, and for Waterford again, Waterford this weekend away to Drogheda, and you would feel for Waterford who thought they'd done the job. It's a firefighting for Graham Coughlin, and it's funny coming back into the league. Played in the league 30 years ago for Bray Wanderers, come back in, haven't had all that time in England and Scotland across the divisions. He has made changes. We mentioned last week in the goalkeeper, he swapped out McMullen for Arlo Doherty. Big call to change your goalkeeper when Doherty had done pretty well in his first couple of games, but he obviously wanted the experience of McMullen coming back in. They have a lot of experience in that team. Kevin Long, international, Pádraig Amond, we came close to being international a couple of times when he was on the fringes of squads scoring in England, but that was a blow. I think if Waterford had taken the point from Shelbourne, they could have built on that, but I think that it's going to be, and I think that Waterford squad will change. Graham Coughlin, it's not his team. He will look and see there's a lot of passengers in that Waterford team. I think you will see when we restart the first game of the restart, I think you will see a different Waterford team to the team that lost and that will play on Friday night against Drogheda. Drogheda, again, just a lot of things just not going right for them. There's a victim mentality now. Kevin Doherty just feels that things are going against them, that they're being picked on by referees. A lot of wrong calls. I should say, in terms of going back to the Bows Rovers game, I thought the referee was magnificent in that game. He let things go. Often derbies like that, it can be, yellow card in the first 3, 4, 5 minutes, as has often happened. The referee really let things go. There was a couple of fairly weak penalty shouts that he didn't give. The referee was magnificent. We hammer referees on this show, and managers do give credit to the referee. I think it was Kevin O'Sullivan for the Bows Rovers game. But Kevin Doherty just feels now that referees, the world is against Drogheda. They need to see out the first half of the season with the win. They need to park that mentality, the world is against us, and just somehow get a win and then rebuild for the second half of the season.
That was a decent point for them last week. I was up there, Sullivan Lamb Park, much better second half. Substitutes made difference. I think Kieran Cruz came on, did very, very well as well. But just from a Waterford point of view, and Graham Coughlin said as much, I think, in his first game in charge afterwards at St. Pat's. There's going to be players who need to look in the mirror and see, are they in this for the fight, for the struggle, for the long haul from now until the end of the season? And if not, you know, he was saying the door's there pretty much.
But that's the thing, you will see Graham Coughlin, he's a big contacts book, he will have a budget because Waterford need to stay up, that their investors spend a lot of money on that project. For Waterford to go down would be a disaster. I think Graham Coughlin will use his contacts, his own players he's worked at the lower leagues, players who slog away in League 1, League 2 in the conference. He's been in all those divisions as a coach. I think he will bring in battlers because what he sees at the moment, I don't see enough battling in that Waterford team is too weak. I think you will see strength probably coming in from abroad, but that Waterford team needs changes.
And with that 9-point gap, if they don't pick up points this Friday night going into national break, that'll feel even longer for the next week or two now. But Aidan, that's great, thanks for that. You can follow all the latest League of Ireland analysis and reaction here on the Irish Independent. Thanks for watching.